The one trait, when I look at the various faculty members, when I look at all sorts of people around the world that I think are successful, one trait that they possess in common is that they tend to work hard. They are hard workers. And I want to give you an example. We had an Eastern Illinois University football player. He went here, and in the spring of the year, they have something that's called an NFL draft for the National Football League. Okay? He was not drafted because he came to a university like Eastern Illinois University as opposed to one of the big football programs like Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan, somewhere like that. But Tony Romo is his name, was drafted, undrafted, signed, and went to the Dallas Cowboys. Worked hard, and now is the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately for Tony, he broke his collarbone in game 2 and is now out. Okay? But they interviewed him on HBO. They'd interviewed him after he had signed a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys worth $66 million. $66 million, a contract for a graduate of Eastern Illinois University to play football. And they interviewed him on HBO and they said, what is the difference? Why is it that you are more successful than others? Because when he started there, he was the 4th string quarterback. Then he became the 3rd, then the 2nd, and then he started. Okay? They had high hopes for the Dallas Cowboys this year. He fell and broke his collarbone. I didn't say fall. He was actually tackled by a guy that was like 310 pounds and, went into the ground with him. But since he left, they've lost every game. The Dallas Cowboys are 2-4. That's the difference he makes on the team. Okay? So they interviewed him several years ago and they said, Tony, what is the difference? Why is it that you're successful and others aren't? And he said, I work harder than everybody else. And he gave this example. He says, at practice, we normally work 3 hours. Quarterbacks work 3 hours a day. He said, I work 5 hours a day. He said, and if you and I are equal, and I work 5 hours a day, and you work 3 hours a day, I will surpass you. I will get better than you do. And so one of the things that I say to my class, as I said, and this is all second-year students are going to graduate, they're going to go out into the real world, they're going to make a living. I say, if everybody else gets to the job at 8 o'clock in the morning, I want you to get there at 7:30. If everybody else leaves at 5, I want you to leave at 5:30. And continue to work as hard as you possibly can. There is no substitute for hard work. And let me just say that again. There is no substitute for hard work. And when I take a look around, and one of the qualities, one of the traits that I see of people who are really, really successful are those people who work very, very hard. Okay? Number 1. Anybody have any questions about that? This is something that I believe in very much. It's by a fellow by the name of John Maxwell. And John Maxwell wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Okay? And what he said is this. It's another one of the traits. And it's a trait that Dr. Wahby has. It's a trait that a lot of our great faculty members here have. Almost every instructor who works at Eastern Illinois University is smart. But some are well received, better received than others. And what is the difference? And the difference is this. Before people know, they don't care, to be effective, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People have to know if you want to be an effective leader, you have got to understand that you have got to make people understand that you care about them. You care about their well-being. Okay? You care. One of the reasons I'm here today is I still care very much about Eastern Illinois University. And one of the things I want to do is I care about all the students that I meet. I want them to be successful. I want them to be as successful as they possibly can. And so therefore, I take time to come back to share with people some of these things that I believe are important. I care about the students. And one of the things that I've always had, and one of the greatest compliments I've ever had, is when people will come up to me and say, you know, Lou, it's really obvious how much you care about Eastern Illinois University and how much you care about the students that are here. So remember, folks, caring about people is really, really important. I'll do this. Something I believe very much, and again, you'll see with Dr. Wahby, but it's treat other people the way that you want to be treated. Treat people with respect at all times. In my career, I've had to tell a lot of people no, okay? But I've always tried to explain the reasons behind it. I don't simply say no. I try to explain, here is the reason why we do one particular reason. I try to, everybody I talk to, I try to think that it is me there that I'm talking to. And I'm trying to talk to everybody the way that I like to be treated. I like my brother, okay? I like my brother very much. I only have one sibling. It's a brother. He's 11 years younger than I am. And he's different than I am, but I like him a lot. In fact, you would probably relate to this. He was a police officer for 15 years with the St. Louis County Police, and then he became a postal inspector. Went to work for the United States Postal Service, okay? Different than I am. But nevertheless, we have a lot of characteristics, a lot of things in common, all righty? So I came to a group of RAs one time, and I spoke to them, and I said, when you're dealing with people on your floor, I want you to pretend like that's your brother there, okay? Afterwards, people came up to me and said, don't use that anymore. I don't like my brother. I said, you're kidding. I said, no, we don't get along with my brother. Use a different example. So I've never used that ever again. But I just thought that was sort of funny. So treat other people the way you want to be treated. Instead of pretending like it's your brother there, pretend like it's you that's there. Okay? All righty. That's the third trait, okay, that people have that I've noticed about the faculty and others who are here. Okay. What is this? Great Wall of China. Apparently, according to the, and I've read this, but when the people went up in the spacecrafts and went around the world, the number one thing that they could see, the item that was man-made, the only man-made thing they could see, was the Great Wall of China. Okay? So why do I have that here? Well, I have it here for a reason. Because brick walls are often put up, they're there for a reason. Okay? And this is my theme to you right now, is never give up. If you want something bad enough, never give up. And there are, as I look around the class, a number of students who are international students. Okay? You obviously wanted to come to the United States to study. You didn't give up. You worked hard to get here. Okay? Everybody who's in this room worked hard to get here. We have people who are non-traditional students. We have people who are international students. We have all sorts of students who are here, and they worked here, they didn't give up. That is another trait that I want you to have. Never, ever, ever give up. Okay? Never give up. If you want something bad enough, you keep working hard enough until you get it. All righty? Now then, the last thing that I have is I have a fable for you. It's about the man, the boy, and the donkey. It's an Aesop's fable, okay? And the last thing that I have for you to share with you, another trait, is this. It was a German village. It was in the 1500s, okay? So imagine me back in the 1500s, German village, okay? They didn't have electricity, they didn't have cars, they didn't have cell phones, didn't have anything else like this, okay? So what do you have? You have a man walking, what's the number one method of transportation back then were donkeys or horses. So you had a man walking through the village and his young son and a donkey. And all of a sudden he was approached by somebody. And the first person said to him, he said, wait, what are you doing? He said, a donkey is to be ridden. He said, you need to have someone riding the donkey. And so the man thought for a second, and he said, well, okay, that makes sense to me. So the man hopped up on the donkey, and off they went. And they went a little bit further. They went a little bit further, and presto, what happened? Somebody else came up to him and said, wait, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm riding the donkey. He said, you are riding the donkey, the father, and your son is walking. That's not the right way it should be. So the man thought, yeah, you're right. So he got off the donkey, put the son up on the donkey, and off they went. All of a sudden, they came to another person. And the next person said, what are you doing? He said, the boy is on the donkey, the father should be up there riding. And the man thought, and he said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And he said, okay, it's easy. We'll both get on the donkey. Okay? So the father hopped on, son hopped on, off they go. They're walking down, and all of a sudden they came to somebody else. And the other person said, whoa, what are you doing? He said, that's way too much, weight for the donkey. You can't be doing this. And the man thought to himself, he says, I've had the son ride the donkey. I've had no one ride the donkey. I've ridden the donkey. We've both ridden the donkey. He said, what are my alternatives? What can I do last? So what he did, he grabbed the donkey and put him on his back. And they walked across the bridge, and the donkey got frightened. Donkey started to move his legs, and the next thing you know, the man falls, the donkey falls into the river, the donkey drowns.